let's talk about something that happens to so many of us, but that we rarely, if ever, actually talk about. It's that feeling, the one where places that used to feel alive and exciting now just feel, well, exhausting. We're going to get to the bottom of why that is, and more importantly, we're going to walk through a really practical, powerful strategy to help you reclaim your calm and save your best energy for the things and people you love.
The central frustrating reality of later life is that the loud, fast-paced environments that once felt stimulating, like a bustling family home or a crowded restaurant, now feel overwhelmingly draining. Does that hit home for you? I'm willing to bet it does for a lot of you. And if it does, please hear this. You are not alone. This isn't a sign that you're weak or that you're suddenly becoming antisocial. No, not at all. It's a sign of a very real, fundamental shift in how your brain is processing the world around you. And just understanding that, well, that's the first step to getting back in the driver's seat.
So let's start by pulling back the curtain on this hidden strain. Why exactly do you feel so drained? I want to be really clear, this is not all in your head. There's a concrete, scientific reason for this feeling, and once you know what it is, it's incredibly empowering. It all starts with a subtle but really profound change that's happening inside the brain. Okay, so what is this change? Well, at the very heart of this experience is your brain's filtering system. Think about it. For decades, it just worked, humming along silently in the background, doing its job without you even noticing. But its performance has changed. We're going to dive into the science of this cognitive shift, and I promise we'll keep it simple. No dense jargon, just a clear, straightforward look at what's really going on. There's actually a name for what's happening, and it's called cognitive filtering failure. It sounds a little dramatic, but all it really means is that your brain's ability to block out irrelevant stuff has decreased over time. Just picture a busy family dinner. The TV's on, two different conversations are happening, dishes are clanking. Your brain used to just effortlessly push all that extra noise into the background. Now it has to actively fight to do that. And that fight, that constant effort, is what leaves you feeling so completely wiped out. The most important thing to get from this is that this is a neurological process. It is not a personal failing. Here's the best way to picture what's going on. Think of your brain's ability to focus as a filter, kind of like a screen in a window. When you were younger, that screen was a super fine mesh. It was brilliant at letting the breeze in while catching all the little bits of dust and leaves, all that background noise. But as we get older, that filter naturally becomes more like a wider mesh screen. It still works, but a lot more of that distracting noise gets through. And now your conscious mind has to work so much harder to sort through the mess. And what happens when all that extra stuff gets through the filter? Well, you get a traffic jam in your brain. That's sensory overload. It's the direct result of that filtering failure. Your mind literally gets flooded. And this isn't just a minor annoyance, it actively and very quickly drains your brain's most precious resources, your executive functions. We're talking about decision-making, focus, controlling your emotions, all the hard stuff. This is exactly why you can feel mentally exhausted after a party, even if all you did was sit and listen. Your brain was running a marathon, just trying to keep up. So what does this look like in day-to-day life? Does any of this sound familiar? You find yourself getting way more irritable in a busy grocery store. Or maybe you come home from a social event and feel this mental fog that just won't lift for hours. And maybe the biggest one of all, you start doing what we call preemptive withdrawal. You start turning down invitations to things you used to love. Not because you don't want to see people, but because you're trying to avoid that awful, drained feeling you know is coming afterward. Okay, so that's the what and the why. And I know, it can all sound a little bit bleak. But here's the good news, the great news actually. Now that we understand the problem, we can talk about the solution. And there is a solution. This is where we shift from understanding the problem to taking control with a really powerful new strategy. Because the real relief comes when you realize that quiet isn't just pleasant, it's absolutely essential. The solution is a structured, deliberate approach we call the Sensory Management Protocol, or SMP for short. Now, giving it a name is important because this isn't about vague advice like, oh, you should get more rest. No, this is a real protocol, a toolkit that is specifically designed to tackle the challenge of cognitive filtering failure head on. It's about actively managing your environment so you can thrive again. The entire protocol is built on this one foundational principle. Quiet is a cognitive necessity. I really want you to let that sink in. We have to completely reframe how we think about quiet. It is not a luxury, it's not an indulgence, and it is definitely not a retreat from life. It's an essential tool for your cognitive health, just like sleep, nutrition, or exercise. Your brain requires it to function at its best.
period. So what's in this protocol? It's actually pretty simple. It's built on 3 big ideas, 3 pillars. The first is the quiet zone mandate. This is all about creating a physical, safe haven for your brain. The second is the time control strategy, which just means being smart about scheduling your activities to avoid peak chaos. And the third is the external filtering tool, using simple technology to give your brain's internal filter a helping hand. Okay, theory is great, but let's get practical. How do we actually do this? This is the part where we shift from the what to the how. We're going to turn these big ideas into concrete, manageable steps you can literally start using tomorrow to feel a real difference in your day-to-day life. Here it is, your 4-step action plan. It's a simple, guided process that makes this whole thing feel much less daunting. First, we're going to talk about how to define and defend your quiet zone. Second, how to put off-peak scheduling into practice. Third, how to use some really simple but effective filtering tools. And fourth, and this one is so important, how to practice post-stimulus decompression. We'll walk through each one nice and easy. Let's start with step 1, creating your quiet zone habitat. Now, this does not have to be some fancy soundproofed room. It can be a comfy chair in the corner of your bedroom. It can be a small desk in a spare room. The only rule is that it's a specific low-stimulus space that's yours. Just as important is how you talk about it with your family. Frame it as your recharge station. It's not about getting away from them. It's about recharging for them so you can be more present when you're together. Okay, step 2 is off-peak scheduling. This one sounds so simple, but I promise you it's a game changer. It just means being strategic. Instead of battling the crowds at the grocery store on a Saturday afternoon, why not try a Tuesday morning? If you can, book appointments for the middle of the day, when waiting rooms are calmer. When you're meeting up with friends, maybe you suggest that quiet cafe you love instead of the loud, trendy restaurant. It's about consciously choosing less chaos. Step 3 is all about giving your brain a little backup. Remember that wider mesh filter we talked about? Well, you can give it a major boost by using an external filter. And the best tool for the job is a pair of noise-canceling headphones. Seriously, these things are like a superpower. You can pop them on in a busy house, on a bus, in a doctor's office, and instantly create your own little bubble of calm. It lets your mind finally relax instead of constantly fighting all that background noise. And that brings us to step 4, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable. It's the post-stimulus decompression ritual. What this means is, after you get home from that busy shopping trip or that big family dinner, you must give yourself a 15-minute mandatory quiet reset. No TV, no phone, no diving right into chores. Just go to your quiet zone and let your brain cool down. Think of it like a cool down after a workout. It's the critical step that lets your mental batteries actually recharge. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. A quiet zone, scheduling my life around crowds? Isn't this just retreating from life? Isn't this giving up? And the answer is a resounding no. This next part is so important because it's all about a new perspective. This is about strategy, not retreat. It's about managing your energy like a pro. I want you to really take in these words. This is a high-level strategic technique. Think about that. This isn't just a coping mechanism, it's a sophisticated, proactive strategy. And its purpose is to make sure you have the cognitive resilience, the mental stamina, to not just get through social events, but to actually find real joy and enjoyment in them again. This isn't defense, it's offense for a better life. It all comes down to this powerful shift in mindset. The old way of thinking, which is usually loaded with guilt, sounds like, I'm avoiding my family. The new empowered view sounds like, I am preserving my energy for high-quality connection. See the difference? You're not pulling away. You're making a strategic choice to save your energy so that when you are with people, you're fully present, you're engaged, you're enjoying yourself, instead of just barely surviving the experience. Okay, we've covered a lot. We've gone through the science, the protocol, and that all-important shift in mindset. So now, let's boil it all down to one final, super actionable takeaway. This is your first step to calm. It's a gentle challenge to help you turn all this knowledge into action, starting right now. And that challenge begins with one simple question. Where is your quiet zone? I'm serious. Take a second right now and really think about it. Picture your home. Where is there a space, no matter how small it is, that could become your little sanctuary? A place you know you can go to find a reliable moment of peace. Here is your first simple, achievable step. After we're done here, just take 5 minutes. Walk around your home and officially identify that one space. Maybe it's the spare bedroom. Maybe it's a reading nook.
Maybe it's just a specific armchair by a window. In your mind, designate it. Say, okay, this is it. This is my quiet zone. That's the whole first step. See? Easy.
And your second step is a small commitment. Tomorrow, I want you to spend just 15 minutes of totally uninterrupted, low-stimulus time in that new quiet zone. That simple act will become your anchor for cognitive recharge, so as we close out, I want you to remember this. That anxiety you feel in busy places, it's structural. It's caused by your brain's natural struggle to filter a world that's just too loud. It is not your fault. And the most helpful insight here is that you can restore control with powerful tools like your quiet zone and external filters. So hold on to this one thought. By strategically managing your environment, you make sure your precious mental energy is saved for joyful, high-quality connections with the people you love, not wasted fighting background noise. You aren't retreating, you are preparing to engage more fully and more joyfully than ever before.